This is Floriana.
What were you expecting? Paradise?
Gentlemen, this is where we'll build.
Hacienda is talking about the brilliant men who tamed nature and people.
Failure is inevitable.
Hi guys, welcome back. Psychological thrillers aren't about explosions or fast chases. They're about pressure, paranoia, and what happens inside the mind. In this video, I'm counting down the top 10 best psychological thriller movies you can stream right now on Netflix, Prime Video, Tubi, and more. These films are dark, intense, and mind-driven. So if you're looking for thrillers that stay with you long after the credits roll, this list is for you. Number 10. Eden. A small group of idealists arrive on an isolated island, each carrying a vision of freedom shaped by dissatisfaction with the modern world. What they imagine as a fresh start, untouched by authority or expectation, slowly becomes a test of endurance, as the land proves indifferent and human will begins to collide. The island, vast and unforgiving, strips daily life down to its raw essentials. Survival is no longer philosophical, it is practical, exhausting, and relentless. Personal beliefs that once felt noble are forced into confrontation with hunger, isolation, and the quiet pressure of coexisting with others who carry their own rigid convictions. As time stretches on, alliances shift, and tensions settle into the spaces between unspoken thoughts. Authority emerges not through design, but through necessity. Power becomes subtle, then unmistakable, as control over resources and decisions reshapes the fragile balance of this self-made society. The distance from civilization amplifies every disagreement. Small choices ripple outward, carrying consequences that cannot be undone. Trust erodes under the weight of suspicion, and ideals that once promised liberation begin to feel like invisible boundaries. Eden unfolds as a slow-burning examination of ambition and belief, where paradise is less a place than a projection. Number 9. Better Watch Out. Ashley, a vigilant babysitter tethered to routine and quiet responsibility, settles into a suburban evening polished with seasonal cheer. The house, trimmed with warmth and familiarity, promises an uneventful vigil. Yet beneath the glow of decorations and casual banter, an unsettling undercurrent stirs. What appears to be a harmless night of supervision gradually tightens into a chessboard of suspicion, where comfort becomes camouflage, and certainty starts to slip. The domestic space transforms into a pressure chamber. Corridors hum with misdirection, doors suggest intention, and familiar objects acquire unnerving purpose. Humor flickers at the edges, not as relief, but as a lure, masking a creeping menace that thrives on control and surprise. The film toys with audience assumptions, allowing the ordinary to masquerade as safe, while something far less benign takes shape. As the evening advances, authority shifts in quiet, calculated ways. Power dynamics twist, revealing a chilling fascination with dominance, perception, and manipulation. The calm surface conceals a calculating pulse, where bravado and cleverness blur into something deeply unsettling. Each choice sharpens the tension, narrowing the margin for error and amplifying the unease. Better Watch Out is a sly, wintry provocation. Part homebound thriller, part psychological snare, that dismantles expectations with a steady hand. Number 8. Shadow Dancer. Colette McVeigh, a quiet figure shaped by discipline and inherited allegiance, moves through the grey corridors of London and Belfast with practiced caution, carrying a life balanced between secrecy and exposure. Her existence operates on routine and silence, until a single disruption forces her into a narrowing passage, where every step is measured and every glance carries consequence. The familiar patterns of duty and family suddenly feel unstable, replaced by watchful eyes and unseen pressure. Pulled into the orbit of MI5 operative Mac, a man whose calm professionalism masks deeper calculation, Colette finds herself caught between opposing forces that demand total loyalty, while offering none in return. Each exchange becomes a subtle contest of control, where truth is currency and hesitation invites disaster. Trust erodes quickly, replaced by strategy, instinct, and quiet defiance. Her surroundings shrink into a tense landscape of surveillance rooms, dim streets, and whispered conversations, where danger rarely announces itself. Survival depends not on strength but on precision and timing. Shadow Dancer unfolds as a cold, tightly wound study of allegiance and consequence, tracing how identity bends under pressure. It is a somber, unsettling portrait of a life lived in shadows, where every decision leaves a mark and certainty is never guaranteed. Number 7. The Eyes of My Mother. Francisca, a quiet and solitary young woman shaped by an isolated upbringing, inhabits a remote farmhouse, where silence lingers heavier than memory. Raised under unusual lessons and early exposure to mortality, her perception of the world develops along an unsettling path. Ordinary human contact feels distant, replaced by routines steeped in detachment and ritual, as her days unfold in stark repetition. As years pass, her solitude deepens into something unnerving. Encounters with outsiders disrupt her carefully maintained existence, revealing a yearning for connection filtered through distorted understanding. Compassion and cruelty stand side by side, indistinguishable within a mind that interprets closeness through unsettling logic rather than shared feeling. The film observes Francisca without judgment, allowing her actions to speak in cold, deliberate rhythms. Each moment adds weight to a growing sense of unease, where tenderness and menace occupy the same space. Dialogue is sparse, yet every glance and movement carries intent. The Eyes of My Mother emerges as a bleak, hypnotic character study, an austere descent into isolation, desire, and the quiet horror of a life shaped without guidance, where loneliness evolves into something deeply unsettling and impossible to ignore. Number 6. Grand Piano. Tom Selznick, a gifted concert pianist marked by precision and quiet intensity, steps back onto a grand stage after years of silence, determined to reclaim mastery over both music and self. What should be a triumphant return transforms the instant he discovers that every note he plays is being watched, measured, and judged by an unseen presence with absolute authority. As the performance unfolds beneath blinding lights and an expectant audience, Tom is drawn into a private battle conducted through whispered threats and calculated demands. A disembodied voice tightens its grip, turning the concert hall into a sealed arena, where perfection is no longer artistic ambition, but a strict condition for staying alive. Each movement of his hands carries consequence, each pause loaded with danger. The pressure intensifies as Tom attempts to maintain composure while deciphering the intent behind this meticulous torment. Control shifts constantly, forcing him to balance instinct, discipline, and raw nerve in a situation designed to erase all margin for error. Trust becomes uncertain, allies indistinct, and time feels sharply compressed. Grand Piano delivers a sleek, nerve-tight experience, where sound becomes a weapon and silence a threat. It's a high-wire psychological thriller that traps its audience in the same suffocating tension as its performer, proving that terror doesn't need chaos, only flawless execution under impossible stakes. Number 5. Black Christmas. A quiet sorority house, dressed in seasonal cheer and routine camaraderie, becomes the setting for a slow-burning unease as Black Christmas, 1974, settles into its wintry night. Amid laughter, decorations, and casual familiarity, an unseen disturbance creeps closer, turning ordinary spaces into zones of uneasiness. The film introduces its characters with natural ease, only to gradually bend that comfort into something deeply unsettling, where safety feels assumed rather than assured. Strange phone calls puncture the calm, their erratic cadence and distorted voices creating a sense of intrusion that feels intensely personal. The threat never rushes forward, it lingers at the edges, defined more by implication than exposure. Director Bob Clark uses shadows, silence, and confined interiors to cultivate a suffocating atmosphere, allowing tension to rise through anticipation rather than excess. As the night stretches on, uncertainty spreads through the house, altering interactions and heightening suspicion. Familiar hallways and bedrooms take on a watchful quality, suggesting that danger does not need spectacle to assert dominance. Each passing hour deepens the sense that something is terribly wrong, even when nothing is fully revealed. Black Christmas stands as a chilling examination of vulnerability and proximity, where fear is shaped by what remains unseen and unheard. Its power lies in patience and mood, crafting a lasting unease that lingers long after the screen fades to black, proof that true horror often whispers instead of screams. Number 4. The Spanish Prisoner. Joe Ross, a brilliant yet unassuming engineer, known for his quiet discipline and principled outlook, guards a revolutionary idea that could alter his professional destiny. His orderly existence takes an unsettling turn when chance encounters and polite assurances draw him into a polished world of wealth, courtesy, and subtle persuasion, where nothing appears openly hostile, yet everything feels carefully staged. As conversations deepen and favors are exchanged, Joe finds himself navigating a landscape shaped by calculated generosity and carefully measured trust. The people around him speak in calm certainties, offering protection and opportunity, while quietly testing his judgment. Each gesture carries weight, and every promise feels slightly misaligned, as though designed to guide rather than support. The pressure intensifies as misunderstandings accumulate and loyalty becomes a shifting concept. Joe is forced to rely on intellect rather than instinct, piecing together intentions hidden behind refined manners and courteous smiles. In this realm, clarity is elusive, and security depends on recognizing the unseen mechanisms driving every interaction. The Spanish Prisoner unfolds as a precise cerebral study of deception and belief, where confidence itself becomes a liability. David Mamet crafts a tightly sealed puzzle of trust and manipulation, revealing how easily order can be redirected when persuasion replaces force, and how survival may rest on seeing through the most convincing assurances. Number 3. Altered States. Dr. Edward Jessup, a brilliant and uncompromising scientist defined by intellectual rigor and unwavering confidence, inhabits a world governed by logic, data, and controlled inquiry. His carefully ordered life shifts when his research ventures beyond accepted boundaries, pulling him away from academic certainty and into territories where knowledge feels ancient, instinctive, and unsettlingly primal. Obsessed with uncovering the origins of human consciousness, Jessup subjects himself to extreme experiments that blur the line between science and something far older than reason. As altered perceptions intensify, his pursuit of truth transforms into a solitary confrontation with forces that defy structure, hierarchy, and modern understanding. The mind, once a puzzle to solve, becomes a landscape that resists control. Those closest to him watch as conviction hardens into fixation, and discovery carries consequences no equation can predict. His identity, once anchored in intellect, is challenged by visions that feel both deeply personal and universally threatening, pushing him toward an internal reckoning that science alone cannot explain. Altered States stands as a hallucinatory psychological journey, where ambition collides with instinct and knowledge turns inward. Number 2. Before I Go to Sleep. Christine Lucas, a woman once defined by clarity and routine, awakens each day to a life she cannot recognize, her past erased overnight by a condition that resets her sense of self with cruel consistency. Guided by a devoted husband and anchored by carefully written notes, she attempts to navigate a present that feels rehearsed yet strangely off, where reassurance arrives too smoothly and familiarity feels rehearsed rather than earned. Her days become a controlled ritual of rediscovery, but small irregularities slowly creep in, casting doubt over the narrative she is given. A discreet doctor encourages her to quietly record her experiences, turning memory into an act of resistance. With each private entry, certainty loosens, and the comfort she clings to begins to feel constructed rather than genuine. As Christine digs deeper, her world contracts into a tense psychological maze, where truth hides behind calm expressions and gentle explanations. Trust becomes a calculated risk, and every recovered detail carries the potential to upend the life she's been instructed to accept. The line between safety and danger grows thinner, shaped not by violence, but by subtle manipulation and withheld clarity. Before I Go to Sleep unfolds as a quiet yet suffocating thriller, built on unease rather than spectacle. It examines how identity can be shaped, guided, and controlled when memory is no longer reliable, drawing the viewer into a persistent state of uncertainty, where survival depends on recognizing which version of reality deserves belief. Number 1. Uncut Gems. Howard Ratner, a relentless Manhattan jeweler powered by nerve, bravado, and unchecked ambition, lives within a finely balanced chaos he believes he can command. His days revolve around risk dressed as confidence, where every smile hides a wager and every promise carries a ticking clock. What appears to be another calculated pursuit of fortune slowly twists into a suffocating spiral as momentum outruns judgment and control slips further from reach. Surrounding Howard is a volatile network of lenders, clients, and rivals, each orbiting his schemes with competing interests and simmering tension. Every interaction feels transactional yet combustible, driven by greed, pride, and the illusion of inevitability. The pressure intensifies as alliances shift and loyalties bend, forming a relentless web, where escape seems mathematically impossible. Howard's world narrows into a breathless corridor of constant motion, where intuition battles consequence, and every choice feeds the next crisis. His confidence becomes both armor and liability, pushing him toward gambits that blur the line between brilliance and ruin. Time compresses, conversations sharpen, and danger hums beneath even the most casual exchange. Uncut Gems unfolds as a nerve-rattling study of obsession and momentum, trapping the viewer inside a feverish chase for validation and victory. It exposes how conviction can masquerade as strategy, and how the pursuit of more can consume everything in its path, until survival itself feels like just another high-stakes bet. Those were the top psychological thrillers you can stream right now. Drop your thoughts and recommendations in the comments, and subscribe for more mind-driven movie lists.